Welcome everybody to the Reality or Not podcast with your boy DJ Reality and your boy Brian from Nothing New Under the Sun. Hey, cuz, how you doing today?
Hey man, I'm blessed and impressed with the life that God gave me. What's going on with you, man?
I'm doing pretty good, man. I actually went out for I went kayaking this morning, so that was
Oh
fun.
shoot!
Yeah,
All right,
yeah,
in the river with snakes and everything else. Like
all of that
they got
shit.
gators in in Georgia too, don't they?
Nah.
Oh,
Not them
okay.
here.
All
No,
right.
no, it ain't nothing. So I went to Stone Mountain and wasn't no. I mean, the water. It's a man-made lake type of stuff. So the water ain't that deep, but yeah, I took my kayak out there. But I was worried though because I was driving and like this shit started shaking. Like I could hear it because I had I have a kayak, so I have my kayak on. Well, it's still on top of the car right now, but and she was like, boom, 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 and I was like, fuck. So then I'm driving like 45 on the highway, trying to make sure the shit didn't fall off, and then I ended up driving the streets back to the crib to make sure it didn't fall off. It was strapped down tight. Like I said, it's still on there now. But just from it making noises, like I'm afraid.
Yeah, the
Because hey, look,
vibration is real.
listen, if that boy, if that boat fall off, I'm gonna keep going.
Onward, onward. That's where we going. Onward.
It ain't because I mean, it's like, I mean, shit. I mean, like I can't go and pick it up, especially if it's on the highway. And two, that damn, that's gonna be like 5 or 7 car pileup, damn near. I'm out.
Ain't no license on that bad baby, right?
Right at all. Like, ain't got no names attached. But yeah, straight up, man. But I was literally riding out, and I was like, damn, this boy fall off. Like, good luck. I don't know if
Man,
you watch. Did you watch Family Guy?
not really. I've
Okay,
seen some. The dog name is Brian, so
okay,
I had caught some jokes about that a few times, but
okay.
yeah.
Now it's a skit, and they always break, um, and then they cut to a scene, and then the dude Peter, the pops, he was like, yeah, this is never going to be used like an Asian lady using her turn signal, and then like it cut to the scene, and it had this Asian lady driving on the highway. She was like, how much turn signal I need to get across 8 lanes? None. I turn now. Good luck, everybody else. And then, then she just pulls over, and all you see is chaos and cars blowing up and shit. I'm gonna send you the link, man. That's just so funny. Like that's literally like if I got low energy or if I just feel like laughing, like I watch that shit because
Hey
it's so
man,
stereotypical.
I've witnessed some of this stuff in real life because being around the Disney area, right?
Hmm.
You got foreigners coming from all over and they rent cars, and then you got like I've never paid attention to it, but like you, all these people that do the support around building and stuff because they building like crazy out there. But
Hmm.
like, dog, ladders is deadly on the highway, dog. I seen a ladder fall off a truck.
Oh
And
shit.
dog, like you said, it was
Yeah.
probably an 8 car pileup. I was just onward and outward because I was like, yo, I'm glad I'm not behind this guy. Because when the ladder fell off that truck, all you seen was like it spent too, and then you
Hmm.
seen this car went boom. I was like, oh shoot. But the other part of that is
That remind.
foreigners.
I was about to say
Yeah,
that remind me of Final Destination, man.
Final destination. Yeah, that's why I don't be behind them trucks with all that stuff and stuff on it because like all I need is a bag to fall off on my car and just or some of that cement or whatever. But on the other side of that, foreigners don't necessarily drive like we drive, and they sometimes be driving on the wrong side of the street.
Hmm.
So it's crazy how sometimes you can get somebody to pull on 3 lanes or whatever. It's we going 70, 75,
Hmm.
and another thing that pisses me off, dog, is like it's a lot of toll roads down here. A lot of toll roads.
That shit is terrible. Why are there toll roads in the middle of the like? Seemed like all the highways when I was down there had a freaking toll road to it, and
Yeah,
then and some of them had it where I mean I could be wrong, but if I remember correctly, some of them had it where like you had to have that, I don't know, the fast pass or
Sun
whatever, but
Pass.
yeah,
Yeah, the Sun
you had to
Pass.
have that or you just
Sun Pass or
got
E
killed.
Pass. Yeah.
So
So Coming to Orlando, if you ever come to Orlando, stop in the airport and you fly into Orlando, stop in the
Mm-hmm.
airport and get a free pass because you can buy a pass and put some money on it.
Mm-hmm.
Because there is ways to get out of the airport without paying the tolls,
Mm-hmm.
but is there's none logical, right? Like there's none really logical that you want to get in, and like if you really want to get somewhere, you're gonna have to take a toll road, and a lot of that is because of the growth that they had and like the infrastructure. I didn't realize that like y'all having a project. I just was watching the YouTube. In Atlanta, they having a project that Highway 400.
Mm-hmm.
They extended it out past Sandy Springs and stuff, all the way past
Mm-hmm.
Alpharetta.
Mm-hmm.
So that project is going to cost 200 and some $200 per mile. It's 18 miles and it's like something like 4 billion dollars, and it's going to be so. The reason why they have these toll roads, and you'll notice that they're not interstate toll roads, because they don't have the interstate. There'll be a state road that they turn into a toll road. It's
Mm-hmm.
because somebody's making money off of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing is the government didn't want to invest what it took to pay for that, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I can't see 18 miles costing 4 billion. Like that's a lot.
Listen, man, I really wish. I mean, I'm kind of in the construction space as far as my job. It's not like I'm out there, setting up projects or anything like that. But at the same time, there's always construction going. I have never been anywhere. Like if you're a construction worker and unemployed, I'm like, man, you ain't doing the game right. Like you doing something wrong because I've never seen even highway like just highways in general. I've never seen a highway fully complete. Like never. Like I mean, if we go back all the way into Michigan. Like you start if you go from Muskegon to Nunica, which is like mile marker 10 or something like that.
Yeah,
Like
10 on 96. Yeah,
yeah, it's some type of construction going on. Same if you go, 131 or 31 to Grand Haven. You go them 8 to 10 miles. It's some construction always going on there. Or even when you get into Holland or all these other, but it's all I've never seen a highway without some form of construction happen.
and it gets to thinking, and I'm gonna kind of go back to what we talked about last year, like being outside the box. You get to thinking, like, well, some of this is like a lot of people move into certain places, and then it just expands like all outdoors. But you get to thinking that road construction, it's got to be a better way to build a road, right? Like it's got to be a better, and like I know
Nah,
how.
they ain't gonna do it. They listen. If they keep doing it the way that they doing it, they go keep making money, and we go keep having construction forever and ever and ever.
We ain't gonna be able to afford to make a road nowhere, right? Like
Bro,
I'm
two
I'm
hundred
in
million
Muskegon
per
right
mile is
now.
crazy.
Yeah, 290 million dollars
Mm-hmm.
per mile. It's an 18-mile stretch, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but yeah, that's the crazy part. But it is what it is. I just want people to understand if you can think outside the box and find a better way to build some roads, that is $1 trillion industry that we need to get into. Uh,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, look, there's always fucking construction. I've never seen no construction. Like if I had to, well, when I used to go into the office, if I navigated one way, it was some form of construction. If I navigated another, like if I took 20 to 75, 85, is some form of construction. If I take 285, dude, I was driving last night and they were working on and it was weird. Like, cause like this is the weird part about the traffic within Atlanta. You just don't, I was like, why is there traffic at 10 o'clock at night? But they shut down half of the highway for it was maybe about a 5 or 6 mile stretch. Then after that, going like I got maybe about another 3 or 4 miles. They shut it down on on the other side, maybe about a good 3 mile stretch. But I'm just saying, like, it's always some fucking construction going on, period. And I'm like, they should be banking in the dollars.
yeah. Yeah, yeah, because it's crazy how that stuff add up and how the overages. Like you said, you're not in construction, but you see the overages and the oops and we didn't count. And like I wanted to build a house. I
They
actually
do
wanted to build.
SOWs like we do. Shoot, I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
and they padded.
yeah,
So I mean, I get it. I mean, we put together SOWs, and sometimes But the thing is, I think I think once the work is done, is more justifiable in the SOW or statement of work for those who may not know that. But like for construction, you'd be like, you put 300 hours on there, you'd be like, well, shoot it. They go make it take 300 hours. So,
yeah, yeah.
so but cool. Let's jump into the topic. And this I was thinking about this the other day, and I was like, damn, and we may have even touched on this before, but like, how do you like the way that you was raised? How did you feel? How do you feel like that prepared you for where you are now in life?
Man, uh, as you know, I grew up in a system that I didn't quite understand. Like a
Mm-hmm.
lot of stuff happens around you. Just being a kid and with a young mother, like I said, my mother was 15. You see a lot of stuff going on around you, and you're trying to make sense of it, and you can't ask adults about it, but you got to figure it out. And I
That's
think,
terrible. That is so terrible.
but if I think about it, that made me a lot more observant than I think a lot of people are. You know what I'm saying? Like I had to read in between the lines when there were no lines given to me, right? So
Mm-hmm.
when my dad's talking about child support, and I'm like, yo, like, why is he tripping on child support? It's just $50 a week. Well, my mama
Mm-hmm.
got to feed me every day of the week, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I can say that, but
Mm-hmm.
then I see how the child support system works, and I can see how some of his his feelings toward friend of the court or whatever. So uh, so it was a gift and a curse, and I tell people all the time. Uh, the way that I was raised with limited resources, I had to create. And you seen the movie Sinners, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. One thing that I realize is, and I ain't no artiste or nothing like that, but like when you have pain and when you have struggle, like there's a definitely a will to progress. Like I tell my daughter all the time, I was like, look, pressure made diamonds. It also busts pipes, but like we made to be a diamond. So like that's what it's about. And like building on that, like I said, you was my friend before you was my cousin, right? So
Mm-hmm.
like it's things all around you that you slowly figuring out.
That's some fucked up shit. FYI, but
Yeah, yeah. But you know
yeah.
what I'm saying? And then the fact
Mm-hmm.
that like I had two dads, right? Like and
Mm-hmm.
people was like, how the hell you had two dads? Man, when you blamed on somebody else and like this, and then you got these in between two worlds. But
Mm-hmm.
again, it taught me how to be observant. It taught me how to be mindful of my situation. It taught me like being around alcoholics and stuff taught me that things can change at a drop of a dime. Like nigga moments are true to life. You know what I'm saying? And
Mm-hmm.
people will die uh being misunderstood, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so but we got my boy Joe Trigg. Well, we both grew up. He grew up in the neighborhood, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
speaking of Joe, I think we might have mentioned this, but that motherfucker on a TV show and shit.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So he was on the TV show, right? And
I
so
was like,
like
what the hell is shit? Like,
all,
I'm
all,
literally
all
just pulling up HBO Max, and I'm like, and it was something Grand Rapids. I was like, Grand
yeah,
Rapids.
all it's all access Grand Rapids PD.
Yeah.
That's what
And
it
then
is.
I'm watching it, and I'm like, wait. Then they say Joe Trick. I was like, but they didn't
Yeah.
show him yet. I was like, the same Joe Trick. But keep going. My bad.
Yeah. So Joe
Mhm.
Trigg, we grew up with the cat. I knew him and like he's the deputy chief in Grand Rapids, Michigan, right? One of the bigger police forces in the state of Michigan, right?
Mhm.
Um, and he's on that show talking about some of the stuff like talking about being in those domestic violence homes, and and I knew he grew up in one because I remember his not his dad, but his mom boyfriend just popping up talking crazy sometime in a house full of boys, and
Mm-hmm.
wondering like and it's crazy that he talked about it because I remember thinking I was like, man, these, because he had three other brothers. They're
Mm-hmm.
just gonna jump this nigga and just just knot him up. Like, where do you get the balls to
Mm-hmm.
hit somebody, mom? But again, recognizing that not just in my home, but in my homies' homes and stuff like that. Like with I remember how we got another mutual friend that used to call him Mr. P, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I remember his mom 13 years old, and his mom saying, "Oh man, you look just like your dad. You just look just like your dad. You gonna have to get out of my house, right?" And I'm like, "Dang."
It's fucked up. I mean, you would expect him to look the
Yeah,
part.
yeah, but again, we don't know the agony associated with how that man looked to her. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And I never thought about it. I just thought that she was always wrong for putting him in that situation.
Mhm.
Like, what you want me to do?
You can't.
Uh,
You can't do nothing. You just
yeah,
literally. You just got to look like him.
yeah. So you find a way to make it happen regardless. And then with the police situation, that's why it trips me out for Joe to be a police officer, because I remember we were fuck the police, right?
Yeah.
Like
It was like fuck the
yeah,
police besides Uncle Charles.
yeah,
It's like
yeah,
that was,
yeah,
and
yeah,
I mean, and granted, I do appreciate that part of our childhood,
yeah.
because it exposed, at least from the music standpoint, and you was a huge part of that for me, or a huge catalyst for that for me, because I mean, you would, you had the NWA tape, it's like, so I listened to so like stuff like that within the childhood, at least from, you could say, well, they were talking about women, they were talking about gang violence, they was talking about blah blah blah. But at the same time, I didn't listen to it with that intent. I listened to it with the intent of them being more real rather than, before that with hip hop. Not to say all of hip hop was like that, but it felt like everything was fairy tales and weird
And party time. Yeah,
outfits and shit like that. And
yeah,
then these dudes came with Levi's fucking Raiders hat, which I've always like. I only like the Raiders just because of NWA, and Bo Jackson. But yeah, they came through like, fuck what y'all talking about. This is us, So that part, in my opinion, helped to, not say curate, but it did help. I mean, even, extending as far as how music impacted me as a kid and growing up, and then, back to, how we grew up as kids. I feel like music was an escape. And like I said, I didn't have too much trauma, but, I was, I, I had, I looked back at things. I was like, damn, we was poor, like, but at the same time, it taught me how to, like, from having a paper route, from having, different jobs and stuff like that, because I knew I wasn't going to get any more. I wasn't going to get no shoes unless I played sports type of stuff. So I needed to figure out how to get money. Um, but at the same time, I wish that, I do feel the pressure, growing up made me who I am now. But at the same time, it's like, well, I wish life could have been easier in the sense that, say, for instance, going to college. I went to college and I had no money and I had no scholarships. So now here I am with this debt, growing up. But like, I'm saying, like, if I had, and I graduated with like a 3.6, like, so I should have had full rides, but I didn't know how to apply for scholarships. I didn't know that, hell, I didn't know scholarships were, I don't want to say free money, but it paid for your school. I thought scholarships come to you, not you go to scholarships. And I found out that the hard way. I remember once I was in the student services building, uh, registering for what do you call it, orientation. So I was registering my classes, and I was looking at all of these pamphlets that they had, and one of the pamphlets was like Distinguished Gentleman Scholarship, and it was for black men only, and all you had to have was a 2 point, and you got a full ride. So I'm looking through it, and I'm like, oh shoot, Then I asked the person or secretary or whoever, I was like, hey, how could I apply for this? And then you're like, deadline's done, and it's only for incoming freshmen. So it wasn't as if I could apply for it the following year. And so I literally could have had a full ride to school. It wasn't even, like I said, I had way higher than a 2 point. So I could have easily had a full ride to school, but I just didn't know. And I think the beauty now, from everything that we have that's available to us, makes it a lot easier. Like if someone has an excuse on why they can't do something, I look at them like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like you have everything at, directly, not to say directly handed to you, but it's almost like one thing that irks the fuck out of me is when somebody asks me a question that Google can answer. I'm like, why in the fuck are you at like, cause I'm just gonna Google it, like I don't have the answer. So you got a phone, you have, but sometimes I feel like some people just want, I don't know if they just want to engage in conversations or what, but I'm like, because I'll get ready to ask a question and I'm like, let me Google it first and see what, see if that's the answer. Or hell, we got to the point where now like chat GBT, you can't even tell me, like, there's no reason why you shouldn't have a resume. There's no reason why you can't apply for jobs. There's no, like, you don't have to go nowhere. Like everybody has a phone, as an adult. So there's no reason why you can't do these things on your phone, but we just didn't have that. I feel like we were in a smaller bubble growing up, which once we got outside and we got older and realized there was more, I started to take more advantage of those things, but it wasn't taught to me or told to me you're going to go to college. It wasn't told to me that you can make 6-7 figures. It wasn't like those things were not attainable. So sometimes it's harder to. I mean, I think more so out of the box now, or even the past. I say once I got to college, it started to be okay. Well, let me try to figure things out more, but it just becomes. It's harder, I know, for some people that, the younger generation to think that, oh, well, I can make this or I can do this. I'm like, well, no, just try it. You have the ability. Like one of my great nephews, he said he wants to be a blogger. I'm like, okay, cool. Well, let's start blogging. Let's or vlog. Is it vlogger? Like a video?
Yeah,
whatever.
video blog. Yeah.
And I'm gonna start doing that once a week with him. He's 6 years old. Start doing that once a week with him. And see, I mean, if he likes it, he likes it. If not, then, I mean, he can move on to the next thing. But I would like him to try it just because that's something that he said he wanted to do, But just, they have a different perspective on what's available to them as kids versus what, I mean, I was happy to, what was it, St. Joseph's, I was like, ooh, they're gonna have turkey and cheese today, like eating free lunch. Those are things I was hype about as a kid.
See, I think like our era is we were both. We both were old school and new school at the same time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like we grew up without cell phones, but then like as adults, we watched them grow into what they are right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like what's crazy is like I'm listening to what you said and like I think about growing up, right? I
Mm-hmm.
think about like my mom had never went to college, but like what was crazy, and this is a question I gotta ask you, is
Mm-hmm.
because I was expected to go to college. Like it was like, yo, you getting out of here, you going to college, you getting out of here. And like I was expected to know what I wanted to be at a
Mm-hmm.
younger age. And I thought that was the same in yours. I thought your mom wouldn't I thought your mom
Nah, I had to leave. That that was. I mean, don't get me wrong. College was that's. I feel like I wasn't pressed to go that angle. It was just the norm, right? So like Tina, she went to Grambling and then ended up coming back home. You know,
Yo, I never knew she went to Grambling.
yep. It was
And
it,
did she
it was a,
graduate
it
in
was a
like
quick
80,
trip.
88?
It was a quick trip.
Yeah.
It was probably about it was something like her. I think it was either her financial aid got messed up or her room assignment didn't come through, and she was there. I think it was maybe like a couple days and came right back. But and then you had Tammy that went to the military, you know, and if you look at, I mean, it's just weird how we tend to follow people's past, but we don't, you know, pay attention to it. Like all of Tammy's kids have been in the military besides one, you know, and that nigga in jail or that nigga in prison, you know. But it's just always interesting to see people like, oh well, my mom did the military, so I mean, not to say that I mean they jocking her style or something like that, but they all went to the military as well, you know, whether it was the Marines or what's that shit where you do this shit on the weekend?
Reserves.
Yeah, the reserves, so shit like that. But no, like I I feel like sometimes like for me, not that it was expected. I mean, not that my mom she didn't press me as far as going to college. I think she kind of just knew, you know, she knew that nah, he's going to go to college, and you know, and that was just kind of the
So being
different
a
world of
baby,
Bill Cosby
so you
Cosby
think
show.
you
So
think being a baby it was different for you? Like because like and I'm gonna be honest with you, Sean.
mhm.
Like I knew we was going to college. Like
Yeah,
I thought we
I
was
knew
going to
way
college
early.
together. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like I
Yeah.
was like, yo,
Nigga,
let's
I
go,
was
man. We
flying to
rolling.
catering GMI too. Shoot, I was
Yeah,
trying. Look.
yeah.
So I mean, no,
Yeah,
I
so
knew.
like I
Yeah.
knew that, and that's wild because it blows my mind. Because like even when you went to Texas, like yo, we gonna go to school, we gonna be good, like we
Mhm.
going because it's and I don't know if and then like I left after my first year, right? I left after my
Mhm.
first year. Was like yo, this is not it. I'm not paying this much money. Like
Mhm.
I'm not gonna get
One
in this
catering
debt.
like wasn't that like 25 or 30 a
It,
year?
it was 22 grand
Mhm.
a year, right?
Mhm.
But they had messed up like they had messed up my scholarship
Mhm.
uh my financial aid and like it didn't get straight into I want to say beginning of August, beginning of September, right?
Nigga, they messed up
That's
my financial aid for damn almost 2 years. That's why I didn't graduate until 2002 instead of 2000. Like they
yeah,
literally
that's the
fucked my
wild
shit
part,
up.
right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But
Not
my
so.
mom
Go ahead. My bad. I won't
but my
keep up.
mom never went to college. She didn't know what to expect. I filled out my own paperwork. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mhm.
I'm willing this all myself, and I
You
never
was doing
even
the
thought
pass for
about.
yourself.
I did it. My sister had did it too, though. So my older
Mm-hmm.
sister, she went to Aquinas, and
Mm-hmm.
like she had filled out her paperwork and stuff. And so like it was always like I figure it out, and I never thought about it. But these other people got parents that have
Yeah.
went and knew about it. I think Dad went to college at one point. He went to college out of high school, but I don't
Mm-hmm.
even know what that whole experience was like for him. I
Mm-hmm.
know it was short lived because Bud, the
Mm-hmm.
situation with Bud getting shot and killed.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but like that's wild because to me, I've always seen us in school and us going to get the degrees.
But we were smart
I
though.
got my associate, and I
Yeah.
was like, I'm good.
I mean, but we were smart though. It wasn't like the things that it's unique to see. Not to say that I mean we Doogie Howes or anything like that, but just to see the way like you got a work ethic. Like I feel like your work ethic was created very early. You know, with like whether it's and I was thinking about this. I was like, damn, you know, like selling candy and doing things like that. And I was thinking, I was like, shit. Like, and I don't. I mean, I can ask the question now because I don't know the answer. But did teachers, principals, anything? Did they ever press you about selling candy on the premises or anything like that?
Man, no, I think so. The one thing about it, it seemed like I got encouraged once they seen that my entrepreneurial spirit. It was
Mm-hmm.
almost like I got encouraged to do it, but not. not let them see me because it was against. But then like I used to sell to some of my teachers like yo I got it.
Mm-hmm.
But so they were supportive.
Yeah.
Uh,
See, I always
but
wondered that because I've seen it, frowned upon, like from the entrepreneurial standpoint now, like, oh, you can't do this on the premises, or you can't. And I'm like, well, no, you should be. I mean, not you, but I'm saying like you should be pushing these people or these kids or whoever to sell these things so they don't have to sell other things.
Yeah, and so I truly feel like in the grand scheme of that, right? I
Mm-hmm.
truly feel that the teachers like it's a respect thing. If you do it in a respectful way, I would do it before class. I wouldn't do it during class. I'll be like, I got it. You know what you need. I think it's a respect thing because people you get somewhere and people will skew skew stuff and now it's not about their class. It's about you selling candy. You know what I'm saying? And
Mm-hmm.
candy was just a means to me getting what I needed to get to the next level. So I didn't look at candy being like, yo, I'm gonna be a candy man growing up. I
Mm-hmm.
looked at
Entrepreneur part, starting here, moving here, moving here, moving here. I mean,
yeah, and I
nobody
think
wants to be selling candy for 5 years, or
yeah, yeah, right. And I think the teachers saw that too, and they saw that like I was a kind of no nonsense, real type of person. But then I want to bring it back to your question, like growing up the way we did. Like I had a teacher that tell me I wasn't shit, that I wasn't
hmm
gonna be able to do. Mr. Fenton, Bunker School, seventh
hmm
grade math. This dude
hmm
told me that I couldn't do the math, and I was like, dog, I can do this in my head. But
hmm
like the point, and I'm gonna tell y'all in middle school, you really your ball dropping, you really finding out what type of dude you really gonna be, right? So
hmm That's
that
some fuck
pushed me.
shit.
Yeah, yeah, but
Mhm.
it was what I needed to be motivated to do what I needed to
Nah,
do
fuck
too. You know
that.
what I'm saying?
So
Like,
here, no, no, no. So this is what I'm gonna say, right? And
mm,
I'll let you finish, but like
yeah,
we need to. Nobody should be motivated by someone not believing in them. Like I feel like that's whack as fuck. Like I mean, because I mean, we all use the fuel for the fire. Because everybody gonna tell you, oh, you ain't gonna graduate, or you ain't gonna make it out of high school without being murdered, or like, and it's like, damn, shoot, like this is what you think of me instead of encouraging and saying, no, I mean, because I didn't, and that's what I was saying. Like I don't really feel like nobody was pushing or driving us to say go to college. I think it was the drive in ourselves that said go to college, go make money, go do these things on your own.
no, see, my
I,
mom, she was hard into that. That was the one thing that she was like, go to college, get a degree, and make some money. That was her whole thing. Like, and I was
Mhm,
like, and she keep telling it to these kids now. Like, I think she kind of looked down on my son for not going to college. But I was like, like
everybody got their own path.
yeah, everybody got their own path, and like she truly meant that, and like I can't even say that it was I can't even say that that was a driving force. It was just something that she told me that was gonna do.
hmm Nah, my mom. I mean, I feel like things were expected. So it was expected for me to go to school. It was expected for me. But the thing, and this is what I was talking about, the idea of, I mean, this is within the conversation too, but the idea of operating within the rules, right? So, and this is what I was saying, how sometimes, like, I had to break the status, at least for me, of following rules because I was getting nowhere trying to do it the same way everybody else was doing it. And I say that as in go to college, you go get a job, you go retire from the job in 20, 30 years, and then you're going to have a pension, and then you're going to be able to live life forever. I graduated, didn't have a job, applied for all these jobs. I was told that I don't have the experience for an entry level position. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, it's an entry level position. It's fresh out of college roles. Like, what? I should not have. I mean, outside of. I mean, because I have coding experience, like in college. So it's like, well, what experience don't I have? I just felt like it was ways to block. I don't want to say black people, but it was a
It is.
way to turn away me.
it- yeah, be 100 with it because like that was the sense. I'm like, yo, like that's the sense that I was just like, yo, this is a game. Y'all playing with me
Mhm.
because, like you said, it's an entry level job, no experience required. But then you want to ask me about experience,
Yeah.
and like whenever somebody does that to me now, I'm like, okay, now I'm putting the onus on you. So the no experience meant no experience with you. You know what I'm saying? Like because
But that's the catch 22. How do you get experience with a company if you're not working for a company? It's like it's literally, and I had to learn that from job interviewing and stuff like that. Is jobs. I've done more jobs that I've had. I guess I had the credentials, but I've done more jobs where I didn't know what I was doing until I learned the job. Like every single, I mean, of course, like sales. I'm in the Salesforce space, so I mean, I get the sales. But if you say, hey, like my current job, they're like, okay, well, you have to manage these customers, or you got to manage the engagement of these customers, and you got to do it through Salesforce. And so I had to learn their whole system, even though I know Salesforce. So it wasn't like, I came in and knew everything, and that's with every job because every job is catered to that company. There's
yo,
not,
and
go
what's
ahead.
wild about that? What's wild
Mhm.
about that? It's like I couldn't get a job on working on computers. Like I couldn't get a job, so I put my own company out there, and I started just saying, "Hey, I can help with that. I can help with that." And
That's
then
breaking the
like,
rules. That's not following the rules. That's dope. Like,
but the only way I could get experience, and I see it kind of in the new schools type of way because these cats are getting experience working on stuff that like I never had access to, right? Open source is a great way to do that if anybody is ever looking at it. And that's
mhm,
another reason why I started G Coded because I was like, in G Coded, like I'm trying to help us make some real money teaching people about development and software, the software lifestyle and sales and stuff like that. And I was like, look, we gonna make money as you learn how to do this like you would do on a regular job, but then
yeah,
like we gonna document the process so you can have that experience. And that's one of the reasons why I kept my company alive with
mhm,
just doing the tech work because my kids they've had experience now since well my son he's had corporate experience since he was 16. He was
mhm.
going out on jobs when he was 16. And again, like they want you to have experience. They don't want to give you the opportunity, so you have to create your own opportunity.
Yeah, and this is the part where they block you, right? I mean, because of course there's some rules that you technically have to follow, like only because they put that criteria in there for you. So, say for instance, your son, they'll say he can have 10, 5, 10 years of experience, but they'll say, oh, college degree required. What the fuck a college
Right.
degree got to do with him having the experience? Like he has the experience. You're saying 5 years required experience. Okay, cool. He has that. He just doesn't have the college degree. So in that sense, they're not even giving him the chance to interview. They like, well, nope, toss that resume. He doesn't meet this criteria as far as a degree. And that's some bullshit. Like, I mean, but the thing is, he's not following the rules because he's doing it in his own way, and that's dope, but it's
And
just
see,
difficult, when they try to make you follow the rules, like, oh well, and that's why I ended up getting a PMP. I was like, I'm seeing all the jobs that I wanted, and I was like, wait a minute, PMP required, but I'm getting turned down. I'm doing project management. I have project management experience, but you're turning me down because you're saying PMP required. Now I got it. Now what the fuck? Like hire me, bitch.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
no.
yeah. But see, it gets even deeper than that. So like the credit thing, I wanted to have an 800 credit score because I'm like, yo, do this shit really exist? Like, how do you get a 800 credit score? You gotta have this history. You gotta. So like, I got it right. I'm like,
Mm-hmm,
yo, you can't tell me nothing, right? What's the first
mm-hmm,
thing I want to get when I get an 800 credit score? I want to get $1 million.
mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah.
Why can't I have $1 million when I have an 800 register? Well, sir, you gotta have, you gotta have the assets and stuff. But no, that ain't what you said. You said 800 credit score, you get anything, right? I
Mm-hmm,
want $1 million, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, now your debt to income ratio got to be different. Your like
They come
there's
up with some
always
extra
going to be
shit.
these
Yeah.
caveats, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna take it back to where growing up is I knew that they was looking for ways to disqualify me for stuff. I knew
Mm-hmm.
they was looking for ways to say that I wasn't good enough, and I always brought it back to be like, and I think that's because like man, I'm gonna do it to I got two quotes from music, right? The one
Mm-hmm.
was Rick Ross. Rick Ross said, "I guess it's in my nature for being a nigga, being being beat down and being able to stand up, right?"
Mm-hmm.
So I know deep inside of me that like my ancestors, my grandmother used to tell me they told her no all the time. Her job was to find out how they could say yes, how she could get a yes.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm employing that, right? I'm trying to get a yes. I'm like, yo, I know where you're gonna go, and that was another thing too with it. Like I don't know if you ever been at a job and thinking that, man, the work is shriveling up, and like I don't know how they gonna keep us working. I don't know how they
Mm-hmm.
gonna afford to keep us working if we don't find something else to do. And I
Sometimes
was like,
I make up stuff to do,
yeah. So
oh, I'm doing this, or or I'm shoot. I'm like, and then I have my one on ones. I'm like, hey, I incorporated this. I thought this was a good idea. Da, da, da.
yeah.
I make
So
it up.
I found a way for this company. I was like, yo, y'all are not using the deals that fell through. They
Mhm,
weren't using those. They was like, okay, they didn't work. They weren't falling through. So I wrote a Quran job that would recycle 30 day old incomplete applications to just send a response email to them, right?
mhm,
Dog, that that little thing that I did, and I was totally off script, and I showed my manager and one of whatchamacallits, and she was like, "Yo, I'm gonna take that to one to our well, he was our VP, right? He's like, I'm
mhm.
gonna take that to the VP, dog." 2 weeks later, they was like, "Yo, we need to enhance this and do this more because this just brought us in over $1 million, oh, like $1.8 million over the month by just going through and just hitting the resend email to complete the application." I was like, yo, that was just something I was like, yo, it made
It
sense to
just makes
me.
sense. Yeah, it's logical.
Yeah, yeah. And so like they uh they doing that justified them to want to keep me for even longer, right? They was like, yo, what else you got in the hat, right?
Hmm.
But at the same time, y'all made $1.8 million. I think it was over 2 months.
Hmm.
Uh, 2 months because they was trying to figure out where it came from, right? And I was like, I ain't getting none of that.
Yeah, bro, like if you'd have got 1%,
Yeah, if they
yeah,
would have even just said, "Hey, we gonna give you a 10% raise for finding that this works," you know what I'm saying? I would have been like, "Sweet,
no, but
I'm
they
open."
greedy though, and I feel like that with companies. It's just like they. I tell people all the time when you interview or when you being interviewed, interview the company just as much as they're interviewing you. Like just understand that um, this job is, use the job for what you would like to use it for or what you need it for. And then the same thing with, because they're going to do the same thing for you, then they can toss you. Like they can literally, okay, well, Brian got us to 1.8. Let's keep him, another 2 years. And then you're like, well, but if we can downsize that role,
Yeah,
they're always trying to find ways to cut money, and it never comes from up top. It's always like, okay, let's cut this salary, let's cut this, but it's like chess, cutting out the pawns, like you're never gonna, cut out the rooks or the bishops or anything like that. You're gonna cut out your smaller pieces first, and that's how I equate that to life. Like within chess, like there's literally all of these pieces in the front that's on the front lines and they just dying.
you're disposable, right?
Yep.
And
Hmm.
that brings me to my other piece of that, right? Jay-Z had a line where this can't be life. It's got to be more. Like I looked at growing up in my neighborhood that these cats used to sit. It used to be that little corner where the little cement wall at on Monroe and Seventh, right?
Hmm.
Like I remember walking by there and seeing them old Jerry curl cats with they 40 ounces talking about their good old days of 40, right? I'm like, y'all 20 something, y'all talking about high school?
Yeah.
quarterbacking, like, and I'm like, yo, like the women in high school, y'all 20 some years old. Like, this can't be life. It's got to
Hmm.
be more. I gotta push myself to be like, yo, this ain't gonna be my norm. I'm not gonna grow up to be one of these cats, right? So like, one of the things that pushed me to saying, hey, is seeing the results right down the street of people that gave up. And when I
Yep.
say gave up, I mean like they
I don't want to say they gave up. They only operated in what they can see in front of them. And I say that as in, you know, and this is where, we talk about the households and stuff like that. I mean, I saw that. I mean, even though my sister didn't, well, she ended up getting a degree, but like she didn't finish at Grambling. I was like, I consider Grambling. Like honestly, bro, I wanted to go to Hillman, but that shit was fake. Like I thought Hillman was real until maybe shit, maybe
yeah,
about 6 or 7 years old. I was like, damn, there ain't no school. Um, but it's like you can only, and this is why I say sometimes we were taught, at least I'm looking at it from, like from, I want to say on the outside looking in because we grew up together, but like we were taught how to survive and how to get to the next step. Like we knew, okay, if we do this, we have the potential of getting this. But then if you think about it, like we look at school and stuff like that, it was people in there, and you got to think back in the day, bro. There was no ADHD. Nobody died. It was just that nigga slow, and that nigga always sleep. Like,
now, now he might have been asleep because his mom probably might have been running the juke joint that night. You know what I'm
or
saying? But
that part
yeah,
too, I mean, and I mean, like you said, the part with as far as the drinking. So and from what I remember, like that impacted you as far as not drinking, right?
right, right,
Yeah,
yeah.
so it's almost like you took that. It was like, okay, I saw like that bullshit. So this is something I don't ever want to have in my life. Nigga, I remember I remember freshman year, you came to my dorm and you had the old duels. And I was like, what the fuck is this? You had a case of them. Like, you had like 6 pack shit. I was like, nah, I'm good on that. I want the real shit.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah, yeah,
you had the old
yeah,
duels and shit. But I'm
yeah.
just saying, like, you learn from that experience to say, okay, this is, and that's what was dope. Like, a lot of people don't, a lot of people repeat the same cycle over. And to not, I mean, they see the uncles, they see the aunts, and they see, them stressed out on drugs or da da da. I mean, I never like I remember some simple things such as I remember fourth grade, they showed it wasn't a health class, it was just a class in general, but they showed what a smoker's lung looked like, and they showed what a healthy lung looked like. And I was like,
Right.
shit, I ain't never smoked. Like, and then too, like Carlita, Carlita, she fucking had me like she tried to make me smoke one time as a like smoke a cigarette,
Yeah.
and I was like, I don't want it. Like I was probably like 10 or 9 or something like that, and but that made me like never even consider cigarettes. Like I never understood. I don't know. I can't speak
But
to
see,
people's
like
habitual
let's
issues.
enjoy, and that's another thing. Like peer pressure to me, like they talk about peer pressure, and like I get it all the time. I tell people I'm 48 years old. I'm about to say wrong. 48 years old. I ain't never drunk or smoked or did any drugs. Right? What's the
Hmm.
first thing that they want to do? Hey man, I'm about. You don't think other people have bought me wanted to buy me something? But like what? you you can't do anything that hasn't been done to me already. I came from the jungle, and like what you said is like when you been around it, that ain't pressure. You know what I'm saying? Like
Hmm.
somebody asking me to do something with them and they paying for it, that
Hmm.
ain't pressure. Now if
Hmm.
they had me on the gunpoint and be like, yo, well then that's a little bit more pressure. But at the end of the day, like understanding that this really ain't
That's you
shit.
not following the rules. That's you not following. That's you not following the rules within a circle of peers. Like the first thing, like with me, when I started doing because I was starting to gain weight and all that stuff. I was like, why am I not? Why am I gaining weight and I'm doing all of the healthy things? And I was looking at. I was doing vegan, vegetarian, no drinking, no sweets, and I'm like, but I kept gaining weight, right? I was like, okay, cool. Let me switch this off. And it was this fat dude at work, and the dude was like, he had talked about, I lost 100 pounds. I was like, how the hell you lose? But he was fucking 350 pounds, so he had lost 100,
Yeah,
and he was
just moving.
350 pounds.
Just moving and eating better.
Yeah,
Lose 100 pounds. Yeah,
yeah. But I'm talking to him, and I'm like, and I'm thinking, I'm like, okay, and I start getting negative opinions of what keto was, or negative opinions was formulating in my head about what keto was, just because he was fat. And I was like, well, all right, man, let me just give it a try. Did that, cut like 60 pounds, and I mean, no Zimpy or anything like that. I just literally I stopped drinking, and I just ate healthy, and I was cutting maybe about 3 to 4 pounds a week. And fast forward, now that, I'm still keto, that's been like 3.5 years, people like, oh, you could eat a little bread. Oh, you could have this, that. I'm like, no, I don't want to. I don't want it. Like, it's okay. Like, I felt, and I remember I was talking to this woman one time, and she was saying, it was like in a group chat, and she was saying, she's like, well, that diet is not sustainable. I was like, I'm proof that it can be sustainable. It's a diet. It's like if you tell her, like, you got Hakeem Olajuwon, right? Like every when you go when they fast or whatever for Muslims or whatever,
yeah.
like they can't eat sundown and sundown to sun up to sundown.
Yeah, Ramadan. They can't eat. Or can they drink water?
No, they can't have nothing.
Yeah, no nourishment.
They can't have nothing during that time. I was like, it's like this. I remember this one dude at my job, or my like 2 jobs ago. Man, his breath used to be kicking. Because like he couldn't brush his teeth, and then sometimes with your body and the way it's digesting, it started letting off
gases.
Yeah, and like his breath was kicking. I'm like, man, but all that being said, I'm like, anything. It's what the Nas phrase, or I think it's actually another quote, but people fear what they don't understand, hate what they can't conquer. I guess it's just a theory of man. It's like, yeah, people, if you don't fit within people boxes, then they're like, oh, you're doing things, you're acting funny, or you just don't want to go along with everybody else. It's like, no, it's funny. I went on this cabin trip one time, and I brought my own food because I'm strictly keto, and I brought my own food, and somebody was cooking in the kitchen, and then I was getting ready to prepare my food. He was like, you're not gonna eat what everybody else is eating. I was like, nah, not if it's not keto. And they were like, well, you can't eat. I was like, no, I can't have that. And it's okay. Like, I don't have.
No, I don't want that. I'm this is my yeah.
What does my food have to do with you? It's literally like the Jay-Z line, what you eat don't make me shit. It's like, why is what I eat impacting you? Like, and it shouldn't.
Why does it bother you? Yeah. Why is it even on your radar? Why do you care? Like, that's a lot.
Why do you care what I'm eating? Why do you care what I'm doing? Why do you? Sometimes I'm like, why do you care for my career?
You don't think
you're not working with me? Go ahead.
You don't think it's people that want to like know how? I chop it up to me sometimes when people do this is that they want to know how strong I am in my convention. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. They want to know if they can shake me. You know what I'm saying? And
everybody want to challenge your discipline, and I think that's crazy to me. Like, you are who you like. If Brian says, I don't eat, I don't know, fried chicken.
I don't eat pork.
Say you don't eat pork. Yeah. I'm not gonna be like, damn nigga, you don't eat bacon? Like, no. I mean, because I almost get offended when people keep going down it. Like, why? Like within that scenario, like, why are you still asking me about this? I don't eat pork. And it's a discipline. I mean, religion is mainly discipline, right? Or your faith in discipline. So it's like, well, if you have a faith and you have a discipline to do things a certain way, then that's what you are. So I don't question that. So I'll never question anybody's religion, or I'll never question why someone does. I care less why someone does a thing the way that they do it, because that's how they do it and that's how they're going to keep doing it. And honestly, if when at least for me, you antagonize me on why I do something, I'm gonna do it even more.
Well, see, I question people's, because so here's the thing too. I understand what you're saying, but I question people a lot because I want to know why. Like, why are you doing it? Is it out of tradition? Is it out of something that you learned? Or like what? Like, I don't need to know why you keep doing it. I just
Hmm.
want to know, like this lady at work. She was like, "Oh, when you come in, you gotta log into this computer so you can log into the other computers." I
Hmm.
said, "Why?" Because that's the way it works. That's the way it works. And I was like, "You sure?" Yeah, that's the way it's been working. So that's what we want you to log
Oh,
into
you
this
would annoy the
computer.
fuck out of me at work, nigga. Like, I'd be like, nigga, this is what it is.
So I was like, again, I'm like, I'm not gonna log in here. I'm gonna go straight to my computer and log in there and see what it is. Dog, do you know that the group policy was only updating on one PC, and that's why they was up. That's why they was logging in there first.
Yeah, I mean, but the thing was, you were doing it from a technology standpoint. Like, this is illogical, But
Yeah, but
but
so
like
it's
like say for instance, say for instance, someone's a Muslim, right?
uh
You're not going to ask them why are they not eating sundown or sun up, or sun up to sundown, because you know that that's their religion.
yeah,
So
that's part of religion. Yeah,
yeah, so
I know that.
if someone states that this is the discipline, like if you ask me like, well, why are you keto? I was like, well, I had major life change as far as weight. I couldn't lose weight. This was, and I'll give you those anecdotes as far as that. But when people were like, why are you still keto? I'm like, the same fucking reason. Like,
I
I
mean, yeah.
don't ever want to go the other way again.
So
So
you stay in ketosis. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Like people don't understand what staying in ketosis. In ketosis, your body is eating the fat before it's
Mhm.
eating anything else. That's what ketosis is. That's what the yeah. So like that's wild. But
Mhm.
again, like once I know the questions, like yo, this nigga stay in ketosis so he don't have to get ready, right?
Yeah,
And then
stay
like
ready.
why
Yeah.
why why would I challenge that? Why be like, man, you sure you don't want no cake? You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah, that's terrible to me. That's what I'm saying. Like,
that's the devil. You know what that
yeah,
is? That's
and it is. It's just people want you, and this is where I say people have certain rules, and this is just rules in general, like on how everybody should. And I think COVID kind of fucked up a lot of this too. But people really feel like you should do things the way that they do them. I remember me and you having a conversation. It was weird. It was a fucking weird ass conversation. We were kids, and sometimes I'll see things, but I can't, like, I don't see past it unless it's explained to me enough. But I remember we were talking, and we had talked about the ages that my mom, or that we were had. He was like, my mom was at 16. I was like, my mom at 26. And I was like, but how was your mom 16 though?
15,
Because
15.
I huh?
Yeah,
Oh, 15.
15.
Okay.
Yeah.
So your mom, like, how was your mom 15? And my mom was 26. And we the same age. Like, I can't, like, but I'm saying I couldn't. It was a fucking weirdest, because when I think back to it, I was like, oh, I bet you this nigga was just like, what the fuck is my cousin on right now?
No, he was on averages, means and averages. He was like, yo, how could
Yeah.
that happen? Yeah, I got it. Like, yeah,
But I
yeah.
couldn't. But I mean, I figured. I mean, you talked to me and you explained it, and that was cool. I mean, I can't remember the age, but we was young. We was young as fuck. Probably maybe like 6 or 8 or something like
Yeah,
that. But
big wheel status probably. Yeah.
yeah, and it was just like, I was like, damn. But my mom was 26. I was like, but it was definitely before 8, because Tina had Tone at 15, and I was 8 years old when she had him. So it's
She
definitely
had him when she was 15.
uh
Hey.
Yeah, Tone
Yeah.
only 8 years younger than me. Shit. So yeah, the nigga had that BK outfit and shit, and I didn't get one. And shit was some bullshit. So I wanted BKs like a motherfucker. I had to wear my mom BKs after she got tired of them and shit. So
Yeah, that was my first quality shoe. I remember my mom had some British Knights, and I could fit them. She wore a size 10 in women, which was like 8.5 with guys, and I was like, I think I was in the fifth or sixth grade,
yeah,
and then it was like, yo, you got the British Knights, the
mm-hmm,
BKs, yeah,
yeah,
that's wild. But again,
mm-hmm,
growing up, and like I'm gonna just that's another thing. Like what I appreciated is like we didn't have a lot. We didn't have a lot. Like I said,
mm-hmm,
so I remember having pro wings, and I remember them kids talking bad about me. Man, he got 4 stripes. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, and I wanted to tear them shoes up so bad to get some
mm-hmm,
new ones, but
yeah,
when I tore them up, I still had to wear them because my mom was like, "Shoot, I ain't got no money for no more shoes or whatever. Pay less. I'll never do that." But
mm-hmm,
that taught me, in my reality, that taught me like, look, I'm gonna be fly in whatever I wear. Like I like if I can do if I'm gonna buy it,
I don't know about that
I'm gonna
pro
buy
wing.
something I like. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm gonna buy something I like. I don't want to wear a pro wing ever again. I'll work for that. I'll do what I need to do to
Mm-hmm.
because the kids at school was relentless. They was like, "Oh, you got the stickers for them? Where your stickers at?" Because I was
Yeah.
like, like
Look,
I'm telling you, dog. That's
look. I,
it was.
I remember. I don't know if you was with me or not, but I just remember it was Marani. I remember walking. You might have been. I can't remember. Might have been Calvin. I can't remember Calvin still, but I can't remember. But I remember Marani, and we was walking. It was. I'm trying to think because it was a Jordan. It was a Jordan 2, so that had to been like 86.
87.
Yeah, 86. No, yeah, 86, 87. No,
Yeah.
yeah, because he did the Jordan 1 for 2 years, and then he did the two.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, 87. Because
Yeah, yeah, that's what I said.
he was
Yeah,
hurt.
because he was
He was hurt.
84.
He was hurt at 86. So,
Yeah.
um, but Marani had on these Jordan 2s that were not quite Jordan 2, and that's why I don't think it was you because it was like because the other person we walked and it was like, oh man, you got the Jordans. He was like yeah, I got the Jordans, and then and he pulled up his shoe because it was I don't know if you remember Kenny was it Kenny shoes or whatever
Yeah.
in the mall or whatever, but it was definitely from Kenny. It was it was a fake Jordan 2, but you know in Jordan 2s you could barely tell that because you know they don't have no Nike on it or anything like that, but it's like a Nike on the back of the heel, but it ain't like that visible. So if you got your pants over it, then you got your
You might be able
version
to
of Jordan
skate.
2.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but I remember he got caught out there. I was like, damn, like because you know I mean I think back then shit. I mean I had Brooks. I mean, but I'm trying to think of I don't remember having. I definitely didn't get. Like I said, I got my mom BKs handed down to me. That was maybe around like fifth grade, I think. Um, definitely, I don't remember ever having Nikes until damn near junior high.
Yeah, dog. Like I said, I remember growing tall and having flooding pants, and like so those little things, and like
Mm-hmm,
I appreciate the kids for being honest with me to keep me like let me know like yo this ain't the way I want to be when I grow up. Like was
mm-hmm,
my feelings hurt? Yeah, but I mean it is what it is. I was flooding, like
mm-hmm.
I had just grew a couple inches, and my mom ain't had you ain't only got school clothes once, nigga. So like
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so
yeah. That's
what
crazy. You got school clothes in August, and then I mean, and that was it. You got no more clothes.
yeah.
We had,
So
but we had to pick blueberries for school clothes.
yeah, yeah,
We
yeah,
got none
yeah.
of the blueberry money.
Yeah.
All the blueberry money went towards clothes.
And
None
what's
of the
bad
money.
now is they said that's child labor laws and they can't do it no more. I was like, what?
Nigga, we was
Yeah.
out. Nigga, we was out there like 6 o'clock in the morning picking blueberries to probably about 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
And it builds character, and that's the other part about it, right? You know, it's like I made my kids'
Grandma
life a
was out
lot
there.
easier.
Uncle Joey was out there. Uncle Mark was out there.
Yeah,
Whole
yeah.
damn yeah. That was.
But like
That
I
shit for
remember
the boys.
you
Fucking do
saying
that.
earlier that like you wish it would have been easier, but you wish you would have knew about those scholarships and stuff like that. But like I think at the end of the day, it kind of built character. I ain't saying that you should have to go through bullshit to build
Mm-hmm.
character, but I'm saying that when you look at life in two ways, you look like damn this fucked up, damn this could be worse.
Hmm. Yeah.
Damn I'm alive. I can at least I can do this or whatever. So
Yeah.
like
Money is always like it. I look at it like money was always my issue as far as like say for instance, like I say with college, right? When your financial aid getting messed up, you know what I'm saying? Like if everything was good, you may have continued going. You may have started this at a certain period of time. You know, for me, like say for I told you my financial aid got messed up. My financial aid probably wouldn't. I mean, if I had scholarships, I wouldn't have had to worry about that. You know, like I would have just went to class with. But I look at it as like, say for instance, if I ever had kids or anything like that. And another part of that too, I ain't have kids. she said she said it's not true, but this is another Carlita story. Carlita had 5 kids by 19 years old.
and that's our cousin. That's our cousin Carlita. Yeah, she had 5 by 19.
5, and she won't fess up. She said it. She was like, I didn't have 5. I was like, do the fucking math. Like she
I
had
mean, she
Stacy.
can count.
She had Stacy at 13. She had what's the other cousin fucking
Andrew,
huh
Andrew. No, you
Andrew,
talking
yeah,
about
Andrew, yeah,
Mel, and Ashley.
yeah. So she
Yeah,
had Andrew at 16. She had Ashley at 17. Mel, no wait, Mel is Ray's baby or Ray's. No, yeah,
no,
Mel is
Ashley and Mel is Ashley and Mel are sisters.
okay.
Mel,
So
yeah,
then Mel at 18, and then the youngest one at 19. And she swore up and down to me that this didn't happen, and I was like, look, I might have the math off by a year, or say for instance 2 years, but you had 5 kids before you was 21 years old. And I'm like, well, shoot, I don't ever want to be in that situation where, because the kids was with Aunt Shirley.
yeah.
Stacy was at grandma's house. Stacy was at our house at one point in time. You know, so it's just kind of like I didn't ever want to, So I learned from that situation, took that and like, nah, that ain't ever going to be me. I mean, I probably took it too far at the age of 48, but at the same time, I didn't ever want to be in a position where I wasn't comfortable or I wasn't
Ready?
around
You
the
wasn't
mom.
ready to. Yeah, you weren't ready to raise your kids the way you wanted to raise them, right?
Right.